Bob Meyers is the one I wanted to get to in this video.
He will give the news from there. Stephen A. is thrilled with this. Bob, what do you make of the deadline moves the Knicks have made?
I think the Knicks are the Pelicans of the East.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Very deep. A lot of good players. Lacking greatness. Jalen Brunson, I'd say, is hovering around greatness. After that, you know, who are you going to convince me of? I'm not going to. I'm sorry. Players. A lot of good players. Very.
So I'm rewinding that just so I can read. I want to listen to it again. Right? I can't expect Stephen A. Smith to fight that comment. He just made the same exact comment a couple of days ago, right? I think Michael Wilbon responds. By the way, it's funny how Malika Andrews has stayed out of controversy lately. I don't think she likes the controversy. Wink, wink. Bob Meyers said there's nothing great about us except for Brunson. Those are his words. There's nothing great about the Knicks except for Brunson. So it's our job to look for Bob Meyers' words on Jalen Brunson prior to, right? We have to find, if you guys see one in there, we'll find one, but that's what we'll look for next. What did Bob Meyers say about Jalen Brunson's superstardom? Because I'm pretty sure he agreed with Becky Hammond. That's my thing.
Very deep. A lot of good players. Lacking greatness. Jalen Brunson, I'd say, is hovering around greatness. After that, you know, who are you going to convince me of? I'm not going to. I'm sorry. I like Julius Randle. I think he's a good player. He's not a great player. Same as the Pelicans. Zion Williamson. Let's see what he can do in the playoffs. Brandon Ingram. Those two teams, I think, are the deepest teams. Now, the Celtics, 1-6, but 1-9 or 10, this Knicks team, that's fantastic. But when you get to the playoffs, it's not about the 9th or 10th guy. You know, when the Warriors were winning championships, you know what our bench scoring was? 27th in the league, 28th in the league, 29th in the league. You know who scored? The guy making $40 million, the guy making $30 million.
Yeah, but what about minutes played?
Yeah, your complaint about Thibodeau with the 40 minutes the regular season, Kerr didn't do that stuff.
Yeah, but
we were okay there.
But since the one place I may push back.
The first thing Stephen A. brings up is minutes played. Minutes played. Yeah, we talk about that. But you didn't argue anything with Bob Meyers. And I see Michael Wilbon about to try to argue that. You guys, I don't even want to steal your thunder. Walter White, OG is a great defender. Mitch Ihart are great rebounders. Those are the first two things that stood out to me. Right? Clearly, Bob Meyers doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Once again, Mitchell Robinson may be the greatest offensive rebounder in the game. He was a work in progress in the league in general. He's always very thankful about where he is in life. Thanks to the Knicks all the time because of it. I don't know what he says about Thibodeau a lot, but I know he makes fun of him. They all make fun of Thibodeau, which is always funny. Mitchell Robinson single-handedly undressed the Cavaliers last year in the playoffs. He goes down with an ankle injury, and we think, all right, we're going to take a step back or two. Let's see what we can do. Hartenstein can fill in and do somewhat of a good job. Isaiah Hartenstein goes on to go nuts and bananas and becomes a great rebounder himself. So when we say great, what does great mean to these people? What? Where is the what? OG Anunoby got here and we went 14-2. Yes, Ihart is a great passer for a big man for what he does, but I just want to I don't want to stretch anything, Bodega Mayor, Bodega Mayor. I don't want to stretch anything. No disrespect. Bob Meyers should be ashamed of himself. I'm glad he wasn't didn't become our general manager. Bob Meyers, you know who wasn't really great? You. You're a full-time sucker. You talk about this bench, this miracle bench, before I even look up these stats. This miracle bench that you guys never had. You were 27th in the league in the bench. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe you didn't need a bench when you stole 20% of your rivals' offense and game in general. Kevin Durant was up 3-1 against you guys. You guys had your own miracle 3-1 comeback before LeBron did it to you guys in the following series in 2015, whenever it happened. Who the hell needs a bench when you have Steph Curry and Kevin Durant? The two premier players alongside LeBron James, right behind LeBron James. Not James Harden, like everybody likes to claim. Giannis was too young and frail back then. Joker wasn't around back then. Kawhi wasn't really coming to his own. But had we looked under the microscope a little better, he might have been up there with these guys, in my opinion. Two-way player affects the game ridiculously in his prime, at his peak. But we're not talking about him. We're talking about Kevin Durant and Steph Curry. The two top guys. You're comparing the Knicks to stealing Kevin Durant. That's like us stealing Jimmy Butler out of nowhere. Or Jason Tatum. We just go, yo, Jason, why don't you come over here real quick, man? We got something for you. So you weaken your opponent totally, and all of a sudden you think you got that much better. You did this great job. Bob Meyers, you bum. Where were you at this season when the Warriors had to finish the dynasty? Jerry Krause didn't run with the Bulls. Michael Jordan kind of retired and ran on the low. Nobody wants to admit that. Phil Jackson, he said Phil Jackson about to be fired. I don't care. Jerry Krause is a lunatic. He ended the dynasty on his own. Lunatic. Bob Meyers, you were too scared to even make that decision. You ran like a chump and took a bag of money from ESPN that was waiting for you anyway. I don't care if you played at UCLA with Tyus Edney or these guys. I know you played ball. I don't care. You're talking about the Knicks. You better come at us correct. When you come at the king, you best not miss.